We live in a time of intense uncertainty and challenges that affect every aspect of our lives. In times like these, it is natural to question the purpose of our existence and to seek answers about how to maintain faith when everything around us seems to be falling apart. Today, we want to explore how faith can become an anchor and a guide that helps us navigate life's storms with courage and hope, finding meaning and purpose even in the midst of chaos. We will reflect on how biblical stories and teachings, which have spanned centuries, continue to be a source of wisdom and inspiration for today. One of the most impressive and inspiring stories the Bible offers us is that of Job. Job was a man of faith, respected for his integrity and loyalty to God. He was blessed with a prosperous life and a large, loving family. However, he suffered unimaginable suffering. He lost everything he owned, including his children, his possessions, and even his health. His pain was so profound that he questioned his life itself. At this moment, Job's faith was severely tested. He cried out to God, expressed his anguish, and sought answers to understand the reason for so much suffering. Even so, Job remained faithful, finding in his faith a strength that transcended human understanding. The story of Job offers us an important lesson about the relationship between faith and suffering. Job shows us that faith does not necessarily eliminate our problems, but it transforms the way we deal with them. He teaches us that suffering can be part of a process that leads us to spiritual and personal maturity. Job did not receive an immediate answer to his pain, but through his perseverance, he teaches us that trust in God is a source of comfort and strength. How many times have we gone through difficulties and felt that our prayers were not answered? Job's example reminds us that even when it seems like we are alone, God is by our side. His experience invites us to transform our pain into a process of learning and growth. To make this story even more applicable, think about everyday situations in which we lose hope, perhaps a personal loss, a professional challenge, or a health crisis. Like Job, we cannot understand the why of our difficulties. Job questioned, expressed his pain, and lamented his suffering, but his faith in God helped him through the storm. We may not always understand the meaning behind adversity, but faith reminds us that even when we cannot see the way, there is a light beyond the darkness. Job's story inspires us not to give up, even in the most difficult moments, and to trust that our suffering has a purpose, even if it is not clear to us. Another powerful example of faith and purpose in times of uncertainty is that of the apostles, who were called to spread the message of Jesus in a hostile and dangerous context. In the Acts of the Apostles, we see how they faced persecution, imprisonment, and even martyrdom, but remained steadfast in their mission. Their journey reminds us that faith is not just a personal belief, but can be a transformative force that guides us to act for something greater than ourselves. This dedication of the apostles teaches us that when we have a purpose that transcends difficulties, we can face adversity with determination and courage. Consider modern life, where many young people face identity crises, uncertainty about the future, and difficulty finding meaning in their choices. For these young people, the story of the apostles can be a source of inspiration. The apostles teach us that when we find a purpose that transcends the individual and connects us to a greater good, we become stronger and more resilient. We may not face the same kind of persecution that they did, but our emotional, social, and spiritual challenges also require courage and a vision of purpose. Their lives inspire us to live for something greater than ourselves, to find a purpose that gives meaning to our actions and that drives us to make a difference in the world around us. Paul's letter to the Philippians is another biblical passage that offers a valuable lesson on how to find peace in times of uncertainty. In Philippians, Paul writes, "Do not be anxious about anything, but be anxious for everything. In everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus." Paul wrote these words while he was in prison, awaiting a trial that could lead to his execution. Even in a dire situation, he found peace, a peace that came from his faith in God and the confidence that his life was in God's hands. Paul shows us that when we turn our concerns over to God, we can experience a peace that goes beyond the circumstances around us. In our daily lives, we are surrounded by pressures and expectations that often make us anxious. Demanding jobs, complex relationships, finances, and even our health can become constant sources of worry. Paul's advice is especially relevant today. He invites us to turn our moments of anxiety into opportunities for prayer, to trust that by turning our troubles over to God, we can experience true and lasting peace. This peace is not an absence of problems, but a state of calm and confidence that, even in the midst of chaos, we are not alone. For those facing mental health crises, financial challenges, or career uncertainty, Paul's message is a reminder that there is a peace beyond human logic and control, a peace that comes from above and is accessible to all who believe. In addition to peace, faith also gives us the strength we need to face challenges that seem greater than we can handle. The Old Testament provides us with the inspiring story of David and Goliath, an example of how faith empowers us to deal with seemingly insurmountable obstacles. David was just a young shepherd boy with no combat experience, while Goliath was a giant, armed, and intimidating warrior. Even so, David trusted in God and, with his faith, had the courage to face the giant and defeat him. For us, this story is a metaphor for how faith helps us face our own giants, which can range from financial challenges, health problems, to personal insecurities and fears. David did not trust only in his abilities, but in the certainty that God was with him. This trust led him to victory and teaches us that, when we place our trust in God, we can overcome even the greatest challenges. In everyday life, many of us face situations that seem impossible to overcome. It could be a financial hardship that seems insurmountable, an illness that makes us question our strength, or even challenges in our relationships and professional lives. David's story reminds us that when we place our trust in something greater, we are able to go beyond our limits, to overcome our insecurities and fears. This trust allows us to face the unknown, knowing that God is with us, strengthening us in every battle. Faith also invites us to see life from a perspective that goes beyond the visible and immediate. In the book of Hebrews, faith is described as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This definition challenges us to believe in a purpose that is not always evident, but that motivates us to live fully, with meaning and purpose, even when circumstances do not seem favorable. In our modern society, where the tangible and immediate are so valued, faith reminds us that there is a greater purpose that does not depend on appearances or immediate success. This kind of trust in the unseen is especially powerful when we face existential questions, such as the meaning of life, the reason for suffering, and the search for a greater purpose. As we reflect on all these examples, it becomes clear that faith and purpose are fundamental to navigating times of uncertainty. The stories of Job, the apostles, Paul, and David show us that faith not only helps us face difficulties, but also transforms us. It gives us a purpose that transcends momentary problems, showing us that even in difficult times, we can find meaning and peace. For those of us living in uncertain times, these biblical examples are reminders that we are not alone and that we can find hope and direction in our faith. Trusting in God not only helps us endure challenges, but it empowers us to grow and thrive, even in the midst of chaos. Ultimately, faith is the strength that allows us to find meaning, direction, and hope when everything seems uncertain. It shows us that even in difficult times, there is a greater purpose that goes beyond the momentary difficulties. What we learn from biblical stories is that when we choose to keep faith, even in the most difficult situations, we discover that we are not alone. Faith is not just an abstract belief, but a living source of power that strengthens us to face any adversity. As we look to God for our strength and purpose, we can be assured that He will always be with us, guiding us, strengthening us, and transforming our lives into something meaningful. So in times of uncertainty, when the storm seems endless, remember that faith has the power to carry us through the turbulent waters. No matter how big the storm, with faith we can walk on water and find the purpose and peace we seek. Thank you very much for watching this video, and for joining us on this journey of reflection and faith. If this message resonated with you, please confirm receipt by sending the number 333 in the comments, a symbolic gesture of connection and participation. Your presence here is very important to us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all our new videos directly on your device. This way, you won't miss any of the upcoming messages and reflections that we have prepared with so much love for you. Stay tuned, because messages and signs from the angels will come in the next videos, bringing new inspirations and revelations for your spiritual journey. Together, we will continue exploring faith, purpose, and the power of God in our lives. Until next time, and may God bless you abundantly.